New Year.
Happy New Year.
Good, we need to share that with each other. And happy 12th day of Christmas. Have you been counting? Today's number 12. And happy Epiphany. Officially, the day is tomorrow, January 6th. But we celebrate it when we're here together today. It is a time of looking up and looking around. I remember a time that I was driving out in the country, out in the middle of rural America, and there were no lights anywhere. There were no street lights, there were no farm lights, there were no yard lights, there were no other vehicles coming with their lights. There was no light. And so I decided to just stop out there in the middle of the country roads, and I turned off my car lights, and I got out of the car and I just looked up. And there were millions of bright stars. It is a sight to behold. It just took my breath away. It's unlike what we usually see, unless you're fortunate enough to live in the country with no lights around. And it reminded me in that very moment of the story of a star that we remember this time of year. Sometimes it's hard to glimpse a star in the fast-paced way of our lives. Even if we do happen to glimpse a star, we're cautious about following it like the Magi did. For us, before we begin, we check the Weather Channel, right? To see if snow is predicted. It's unlikely that too many of us would set out on a day like today or tomorrow to follow a star. Or we might check out the astronomy webpage so that we can email and ask them what the star's precise location is. And then we can set our GPS. We can't just strike out without knowing our exact destination. We're more likely to get on MapQuest or Travelocity or talk with a travel agent and get a day-by-day itinerary with reservations confirmed. For we really do want the assurance that at the end of each day's journey we will have a hot shower after all, and a bed with clean sheets, and of course access to television or internet. No wandering along in a slow caravan for us. No swaying along on dirty camels, smelling who knows what all, and tasting dust like the Magi. Not for us, thank you. They couldn't even watch the 10 o'clock news to hear the local weather report, or to know how many gladiators had been killed in Rome that day, or to find out if any of the empire's governors had been toppled. And when the Magi rose each morning, they certainly could not put on a fresh cotton shirt. Or they couldn't lessen the boredom of the long days by listening to their iPod or checking their email. It was a long trip, with hard times to be sure. And so today, we remember those Magi. We remember those who took out on a journey with no itinerary except a star to guide them. Traditionally, the visit of the Magi is viewed as a significant sign that the baby Jesus offers hope for all people in all places, all those who seek full and authentic life. We don't know very much about these three visitors. We do know that they were educated, and they probably knew a lot about all the world religions all around them. We also know that they probably were experienced in the Roman culture, but we don't know much else, really, except this. What we do know about the Magi is that they were awake enough to their surroundings to see the star. And they had the courage to follow it, which meant a very long journey from the east. When the Magi set out after leaving King Herod, the star went ahead of them and stopped over the place of the child, which now, according to Matthew, is a house. And these Magi were Gentiles, not Jews, foreigners, not natives, and traditionally they represent a variety of different heritages and worldviews and races. Their trip and the beings who they were in themselves mean for us that the gift of Jesus came to all people. And when they arrived at that house, they were overwhelmed with great joy. They entered and they saw the child Jesus, and they knelt down and they gave their honor and their respect and offered the gifts that they had brought. And then they went home by another road. On this Epiphany celebration, on this first Sunday of the new year, we are invited to follow the star and to take the journey. The journey may be physical, from one place to another place. The journey may be spiritual, a journey of heart and mind. The journey will certainly call for flexibility and openness to surprises and patience, and most certainly trust, especially trust. At times, like the Magi, we may face journeys that we would not choose, journeys that intrude into our lives. Perhaps a family transition or loss, or the loss of a dream, or a change in job or health. Or perhaps it will be an inner journey of spirit that takes us to new and different places. The journey may not be smooth. The ground may not be sure, like trying to travel in the winter and fly from the east to the Midwest with no connecting flight in sight. That's another story. There may be storms, there may be hills to climb and valleys to pass through. And some places may even feel foreign to us, filled with uncertainty. And other places may be filled with such great joy and excitement. And when we think that we have come to the end of our journey and can rest at last, we may find that a new journey is just around the corner. We don't journey through change without changing. And we don't journey into a new year without new possibilities in front of us, individually and as a congregation. The new year gives birth to a new way of being and doing and living in our world. A new year may mean for us striking out without knowing the exact destination of our lives. But aren't we glad? Aren't we glad that we have the opportunities to grow and change and experience whatever may come our way? But we do know that if we continue to live by the light of the star, the light of Christ that leads us wherever we go, that we have so many hopes and so many possibilities for ourselves and for those we meet along the journey. As individuals and as the church, we are invited to follow the star and receive the power and opportunity it gives. For the star reminds us that God is with us in all of our journeys, each and every day. And in the baby Jesus, love is born, a love that lives in each of us. When we try our best to live with God and to walk with Jesus, each day is a spiritual adventure, a journey of faith and hope, a time for us to look at how we live as faithful disciples and how we share the love of Jesus with others. We decide. We make lots of decisions every day of our life. And one decision that we might challenge ourselves to make is to decide every day to let the star, the light of Jesus, guide us. And at the end of each day's journey, we may silently kneel before Jesus and give him honor and respect. And we are overwhelmed with great joy. And here's the good news. We do not have to return home, because right here with Jesus with us, we are home. Remember to look up and see the star. And may the light of Christ shine in our hearts and guide each and every one of us in this new year. Thanks be to God. Amen. As we journey in our faith, we sing together.